Okay, welcome. Okay, lots of thumbs up. So welcome everyone. I'm Chantal Adams, the student counselor at the Western Cape campus out in Parow, Cape Town. You'll be receiving all the emails and invites from my office. So welcome today to today's event. We are hybrid. We've got a student with us in person at the Parow campus, and we've also got a number of students joining us online. You would have all received the program for today. And so I'd also just like to welcome our speakers. We've got the CEO of the Institute of Accounting South Africa, Mr. Prakash Singh. And then we've also got a number of staff members joining us from PKF. So I'd like to welcome the PKF team to our online session today. And then BVA Incorporated, who's joining us for the first time at an accounting career talk at Unisa. Our student population is a mixture of accounting students, taxation students, auditing, management accounting. So that is our audience here today. Students feel free to use the chat function to post any questions or comments that you have. I'll be managing the chat throughout the presentations. And then you will also see an evaluation form. So at the end of the session, please feel free to provide us with feedback on your experience on the session of today, or give us input in terms of suggestions and recommendations of the types of support that you need, perhaps for next year and in future. So that is just to open up our session for today. Perhaps we can ask our students to perhaps just switch their cameras on for a second so we can see who's in our audience for today and our speakers can see who they're engaging with. I think the challenge with let me also just activate the cameras. Just give me a second. Let's see who we've got today. Let's do the... Just give me a second. I'm going to allow you to activate your cameras. I think the complex nature of ODL, distance learning, is when you're hosting online, you always feel you've this strange feeling that you're speaking to yourself, especially when all the cameras are off. And now, is it allowing me to scroll? No, it doesn't want me to scroll. Okay, just give me a second while I fight with Teams for a second. Presenters, mics, cameras, there we go. Okay. All right, so I've just activated people's mics and cameras, so perhaps just our students can just put on your camera for a second if you can, wherever you are located, just to say hi to our presenters. Our presenters can see who our students are. Hello, Nontobeko. Hi. We see you. Welcome.
Yeah.
Hi. There we've got Lynette Engelbrecht. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. Anyone else willing to put on their camera, or you're still in your pajamas? We still welcome you, even if you are in your pajamas. No, we listen, but we don't judge. Okay. I'm going to start with the first presentation for today. So that was just a formal welcome and opening of today's session. Feel free to use the chat functions. Feel free to engage with our speakers that we have here today. And challenge them and question them, because the session today is for yourself, for your benefit, to determine how to put your best foot forward, how to prepare yourself effectively for a career in the field of accounting sciences, and also think about your CV, think about practical things. What needs improvement? Where do you need to improve? What gaps do you need to fill in order to ensure that you plan and prepare and set yourself up for a successful career in accounting sciences. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to Prakash Singh, the CEO of the Institute of Accounting Sciences.
Thank you very much, Chantal. If you can unshare, then I can share. And while you're doing that, let me take the opportunity of greeting all of you. A very good day to you. I'm the CEO of the Institute of Accounting and Commerce of South Africa. And I want to recognize this day my colleagues from PKF and BVA. Nice to be speaking to you as well, and importantly, the students of Unisa. I hope my presentation will be something that you would actually gain something from. I'm going to try and share now my presentation. If I can just go, just going to stop my share and just go to my PDF or my PowerPoint at least. Okay, now I'm going to go and share. That's it. So if I go and put it on presentation mode, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, you can see my full screen or just the notes as well.
We're still seeing the slides on this on the side.
You're seeing the slides as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just trying to see how I can get rid of that.
Just click on slideshow.
On slideshow.
Mm-hmm. On top.
On the top.
Yep.
Yes, slideshow, and then
from beginning.
From beginning.
There we go.
Okay, let me do one thing here then. Hide presentation view, and that's it. Okay, so as I said, it's a pleasure to talk to you today. I'm going to basically firstly introduce IAC to you, and then just recap on what I did last year to just speak about everyone talks about the fourth industrial revolution, to tell you how we're going into the fifth industrial revolution now quickly. And then I'm going to go on to how the accounting profession is affected by artificial intelligence, by AI. Okay, so that's basically my task for today. So firstly, to introduce the history of IAC, and Chantal, you must tell me if everything clearly what I'm going to show now. It's a little bit fancy with me bringing in all the slides as I'm talking. So we were established in 1927. We are 98 years old. Maybe we should say 98 years young. In 2 years' time, we'll be celebrating our 100th anniversary. So we're the professional accounting body, and at that time we was a college as well. Then in 2010, with the new era in South Africa, the IAC and every other professional body as well, accounting body in the country, had to close down the colleges, basically, if I can put it that way, and concentrate on the accounting side, the professional accounting, this being a professional accounting body only. So that happened in 2010. In 2013, the IAC, which is a short form for the Institute of Accounting and Commerce, the IAC was recognized by SARS as a tax controlling body as well. So we're not only an accounting body, we're also a tax body as well. And in 2016, CIPC, those that are in charge of the Companies Act, and we'll come to that just now, they registered IAC as the business rescue practitioners, to register business rescue practitioners. So we were the first ones in the country, actually, from all accounting bodies. Business practitioners were in the past only associated with attorneys and their bodies, but the accounting bodies were introduced in 2016, and we were awarded that. And then in 2019, we were licensed by SEQA, by Facet, to become an approved training center, which we call an ATC, approved training center. This is where we employ students and And if I can just go back there, I don't know why this is doing this. Let's remove this. We employ students, or we register students at least, and we do not charge students for being a member of the IAC. It's actually absolutely free. At the end of the slideshow, I'll show you a QR code which you can apply. It's a one-page document which you can apply to be a student. Okay. Now the IAC, I don't know why this is not working now, but the IAC is associated with statutory body recognition and is recognized by all statutory bodies in the country. And I don't want to go through each one of them because of time, but you'll see all the main ones on the screen. We are recognized by all these controlling body. Our CETA, the accounting CETA, is FACET. So you can see my cursor. And there we have SEQA, who provides us with all our designations and so forth. Very importantly, we're a full member of the Pan-African Federation of Accountants, who is the mother body of IFAC in Africa. IFAC is the International Federation of Accountants, so we are very much involved with them. The IAC has 7 designations approved by SEQA, and I'm just putting them up here. The IAP, the Financial Accounting in Practice, and the Financial Accounting Commerce, that's our accounting officers. We have the Technical Accountant, better known to everybody as the as bookkeepers. We have the Certified Tax Practitioner. We have the Associate Tax Practitioner. We have the Business Rescue Practitioner, as I said, and then we have students. So this is important for you. That there's a QR code, and if you want to take the liberty of putting your cameras onto this code, and it'll come in the end as well, to send forms into us to enroll as a student, and it's free of charge. You get all the benefits of us communicating with you. You're most welcome to do so. I'll also send that QR code to Chantal, and she can send it out with my presentation to you as well. Okay, then we go on to the talking about the accounting profession in the 5th Industrial Revolution. Now, you might be thinking, why 5th Industrial Revolution? Because everyone talks about 4IR, 4th Industrial Revolution. Let me explain it. Just to recap, and I told this to you last year, I think. I'm not too sure. But the first Industrial Revolution happened in the 1930s, which was the creation of steam power. And it was a game changer in the 1930s, where steam engines and so forth were established, and railways were evolved tremendously. Then the second Industrial Revolution came in the 1970s, and it was the creation of television. Now, television changed the entire scope, the entire arena of South Africa and the world. Whereby in the old days, before 1970, we never had television. The parents will come from work, have a good chat with the family, sit around the fire, have some meat on the braai, or whatever it is. But now, when you go home, and I'm sure many of you will agree with me, that the moment you go, you're in front of a TV. You're sitting in front of the TV. No more you're sitting around the table, around a fire, having a chat, and so forth. I hope you're doing that. If you're not doing it, this is the reason that it happened in the second Industrial Revolution, the creation of television. Then in the third Industrial Revolution came computers, and that was in the 80s and the 90s, especially in the 90s, actually. I remember in 1985, I was working for a company in corporate, and a food company, the biggest food company in the country. And when they told us in 1985, there's going to be every clerk will have a computer on the table. And at that time, there was no computers. The whole of our site, there's a flour mill that I was working for in this food company. There was no computers. And they said every clerk will have a computer on his table. And we said it will never happen. And then the other thing that happened was when they said, when the computers come in, there would not be a need for accountants. And we know that since the 1990s to now, 35 years later, there is a huge need for accountants. So we were so wrong. But that was a game changer as well in the 1990s when computers were introduced. And then in the 2000s, we moved into the digital technology. And this came with software packages such as Xero and DraftWorks and Caseware and Pastel and Sage and all kind of softwares, and cryptocurrencies came into being as well over here. I don't have time to talk about it, but there's so much you can talk about it. But today I want to tell to you that we are now we've gone into the fifth industrial revolution, which is artificial intelligence. And the question today is, how does artificial intelligence influence the education of our students? How does it affect the accountant, the future accountant? So how is AI transforming the accounting profession? That is what I want to dwell in the next two slides, this slide and the next slide. And Chantal, I'll be over my 20 minutes then. Okay, so firstly, the automation of routine tasks. Now, no more, if you are thinking that you're going to finish off, graduate with your BCom degree and move on into industry, or after you qualify or become a chartered accountant or an accounting officer or whatever it is, that you're going to go and do debits and credits, and you're going to go and do data entries and invoice processing and so forth. I think you'll be very, very mistaken. You're going to find that that automation of routine tasks, AI is going to take over by then. And you'll have to get used to it, because AI does automatically your data entry, your bank recons, your invoices, categorizing expenses. So this reduces manual errors, increases efficiency, and frees up accountants to focus on higher value activities. And we will talk about those higher value activities just now. But that is where the scope of accounting, the transformation of accounting is going, not only in South Africa, but throughout the world. AI tools, secondly, AI tools can process data in real time. Now, there'll be live dashboards. There'll be on-demand annual financial statements. You'll have continuous audits going on. This shifts accounting from a retrospective point of view to a proactive point of view, giving businesses faster insights for decision making. Now, in accounting world, you must understand that accounting is actually very retrospective. You are accounting for what has happened in a company already. I can see the PKF staff and my colleagues are here as well. You will agree with me that we audit things that have happened already retrospectively. But AI is going to be proactive, giving businesses more insights for decision making. The decision making, smarter decision making tools is also very much the third one that I want to talk to. And AI doesn't just record the past, but it predicts the future. So this is what you're going to be exposed to, students, when you get into industry. AI will not just record past events, but they will predict the future. Forecasting cash flows and revenue, modeling of tax implications, budgeting using historical trends, and performing risk assessments. All this will be done, as AI predicts the future online, real time. Then, fourthly, I want to say that AI in the accounting profession is very intelligent in tax compliance. Now, with tax compliance, AI can stream and make your tax compliance, your submissions to SARS and so forth, all to be done automatically. Already, SARS is doing what we call auto assessments, and auto assessments is doing your tax calculations automatically and sending it to you without you even issuing SARS with your information. So all these will be automatically done, and the compliance will be of a very high standard. Then I want to continue with this thought and say fifthly, that AI will enhance clients' advisory services. And what I mean by that, with automation taking care of the books and accountants, taking care of the actually annual financial statements or your management statement accounts or whatever it is, accountants can focus more on strategy advisory, business consulting, integrated reporting, sustainability analysis. Now, this might sound big terms to you, but this is where the focus of accountants are going. I was talking to a person from SAICA the other day, and they were telling to me that they have statistics that in the next 10 years, there'll be 71 million jobs created in Africa only, and there'll be 270 odd million jobs, accountants, that is, created worldwide. So what will these accountants be doing? No, they will not be doing debit the receiver and credit the giver. They will not be doing bank recons manually. They will not be doing cash flows. Right now, we already in your statement of comprehensive income. We now concentrate on cash flows, because it's no good having a net profit in your books, but not having money to pay your staff or not money to meet your overheads. So cash flow is king at the moment. So these are the kind of things that the advanced things that accountants will be exposed to and will be required to do. More compliance, actually, strategic advisory, talking to clients, giving them advice, business consulting, consult with them and see how they can improve the businesses and make a change, because change is always there. One of the things that's guaranteed is change. Integrated reporting and sustainability. How are you going to sustain yourself in the future? Doing all those analysis. Then accountants will need to acquire evolving roles and skills. So if you're going to live in the past as an accountant who works manually, not taking AI into account, not artificial intelligence, you're going to be left behind, because accountants will need to acquire and evolve as time goes, as we move on now with the roles and the skills. What we mean by that, they need to understand data technology and the basics of AI in the digital world. That is what is happening right now. And there's so many emphasis and focuses on equipping accountants to be efficient in the technology environment with basic AI in the digital world. Accountants will need to work with AI tools and platforms. All the soft skills that we talk about, like ethics and human insight. Insight will become more valuable than ever. So you will be now interpreting financials. You'll be looking at the ethical view of financials. You'll be looking at strategically at financials. And it will be so exciting. This is actually very exciting. It's not bad news that we bring to you today. We bring good news to you. Of course, it comes with risks and challenges. It does have its challenges, but data privacy and cybersecurity will be a concern. And I'm sure that if you are watching the news, you will, in the last 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years, you will notice that even statutory bodies have been hacked, and the cybersecurity has been improved thereafter. And this is a risk in this environment. But over-reliance and automation and ethical standards in AI-generated decisions has to be taken into consideration as well. We can't we can't put our reliance only on automation going forward. Okay, then the last thing that I want to say to you, and I want to close with this, because I was only given 20 minutes by Chantal, is the AI, the human AI collaboration. And this is important, the most important, there has to be a collaboration between human factor and artificial intelligence. What do you mean by that? The future is not about AI, artificial intelligence, replacing accountants. So the future is not about AI replacing accountants, but it's about accountants and AI creating better outcomes. That is what needs to happen for the future. The future is not about AI replacing accountants, but accountants and AI together, the AI platforms together, creating better outcomes. And I want to close with this statement, and it is so true, because we see it in the real world. AI, that is artificial intelligence, will not replace accountants. Don't be mistaken, and don't be all of a sudden get nervous that, hey, I'm doing accounting, I'm coming out in accounting, I'm graduating as an accountant, but there will be, accountants will be replaced. No, don't think of how I thought in 1985. It will not happen. AI will not replace accountants, but accountants who use AI will replace those who don't. So in other words, you got to get with it. So AI, while we're saying that AI will not replace accountants, but accountants who use AI will replace those who don't use AI. So that's what I want to close with and give you the assurance that that you are in a very good space. You are in a very good environment and choice of profession. And we look forward to seeing you in our professional bodies registering as a designated member. Remember, there's a difference between having a qualification and having a designation. A qualification is when you qualify, you get a BCom degree out of Unisa, say, and you then convert that qualification into a designation when you join a professional body like IAC or SAIPA or SAICA or one of these professional bodies. And then you receive a designation, which I showed you, like a financial accounting practice or a chartered accountant with SAICA or whatever, whichever body you belong to. Then you convert your qualification into a designation. Then you can say you're a professional. So what I have on the screen is the QR code for the student application form. Chantal, I will forward this to you on email as well so that you can distribute to the members as well. And if you are looking at it now and you want to take a picture of it, and it will automatically bring up the application form. So I'm going to give you a moment to do that, while I then say to Chantal and to my colleagues out here, thank you very much for the opportunity. IAC really appreciates Unisa. You call me every year. I've been doing this for years for Unisa, even not only in the Western Cape, but at the greater Unisa, countrywide. And it's always been a pleasure to be with you, Chantal, and the management of Unisa, and thank you very much. If you've got questions and answers, you're most welcome to ask. Thank you. Chantal, over to you. Thank
you so much. I think a very important topic, something that everyone's worried about, is when will the robots replace us? So it's a very relevant topic. I think even in counseling, they're speaking about having chatbots replacing counselors. And I think we need to work very hard at keeping ourselves relevant and not allowing the robots to replace us, becoming more skillful in learning how to use technology and the AI tools that are being developed to solve complex accounting problems, financial problems, human problems. I think we just need to keep ourselves relevant and ensure that we stay in control of the technology. But I think something that our students also need to bear in mind in terms of preparing themselves for the field effectively is where do they need to upskill and what tools they need to learn to use to be effective in their future roles. For those that are looking at articles, some of the questions you need to ask companies is, what are the AI tools that they're using? What are the tools they need to become familiar with? And I think with the advancements in technology is you need to keep up at a very rapid pace. So you need to learn in a very fast, chaotic environment. And that ability to remain agile and adaptable in the ever-changing world is the key skill that keeps us relevant. I wonder if there are any students in particular that have a particular question for Mr. Prakash Singh. We will also have a Q&A session at the end. I don't see any comments or questions for you. I don't see any hands up. Any students who have a particular question for Mr. Prakash Singh? Going once, going twice. Okay, I don't see any hands raised.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Prakash, for your presentation and being willing to engage with our students.
Oh, it's
Thank
a
you so
pleasure,
much.
Chantal. It's a pleasure. All the best. I'll stay on if you don't mind.
Yes, sure.
Just to watch as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Then we have our next speaker from PKF, Renee Clifford, who will be presenting on behalf of PKF Durban. Over to you, Renee.
Thank you so much, Chantal. We really appreciate it. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Oh, sorry, wrong screen. Give me 2 seconds. All righty. Okay, can you, okay, sorry guys, I'm just getting it up and running. There we go. All right, can everybody see? Okay, if can I just get a thumbs up? Perfect, amazing. All right, so hello everyone. I am Renee Clifford. I am the HR manager for PKF Durban, but I'm not just representing PKF Durban, I'm actually representing PKF South Africa, so PKF as a whole. And really what I wanted to do today was just sit and chat to all of you as Unisa students and just talk to you about your path on how to get to that designation of becoming a CA. A lot of the times as a trainee or as a student, when you're in that journey, you don't get the full picture. You haven't gotten a lot of detail. You might have been misguided by a career counselor who is not in the everyday know of what happens. And so we wanted to just take you guys through a little bit about that journey of becoming a CA. I do want to just acknowledge Prakash. I think his talk was really, really insightful and really knowledgeable. I think AI is very prominent in today's time, and I think it's something that is very prevalent. And I thought it was a very interesting talk. So thanks for that, Prakash. All right, so a little bit about us at PKF Durban, or PKF as a whole. So we are based in 150 countries around the world. So we have a massive footprint around the world. We have 400 offices nationwide, throughout the world. And then we have 8 firms nationwide here in South Africa, of which we're sitting in 5 different provinces. So we are a big firm in the sense of a massive footprint, but we are all independent firms that work really well together, and we're one of the top 10 accounting agencies in the world. So we're right there with your BDOs, your Mazars, your Deloittes, as well as your EY and KPMG, and we have a very big footprint and mark throughout the accounting fraternity, both here in South Africa and around the world. So I wanted to just chat to you guys about what your next step is, which is becoming a CA. You're all doing a BCom in accounting or a BAC, and your sort of designation or your pathway or future is that of one of becoming a CA. And so it's important to understand what does that journey encompass. And I always say to everyone, it is a journey that will challenge you. It's a journey that will push you to your limits, but it's a journey that's really well worth it. The CA designation is one of the #1 designations in the world. And when they have, and this is in comparison to the likes of the States, it's in comparison with Australia, it's in comparison with the United Kingdom. And I think that just in the history of South Africa and the amount of corruption and different cases we've had throughout the last 10 and 15 years within the accounting fraternity, the URBA regulations, the SAICA regulations, all of those regulations have become a lot more robust. And with that, that actually then adds to this designation becoming more recognized and more reputable, because it's not so simple just to become a CA. I call it the doctor of numbers. It's a long 7-year journey, and that's if you have the amazing ability to just hit that out one time, pass everything first time around. I'm here to let you know you are going to fall somewhere along the line. It might just be once, but it is absolutely normal to trip somewhere along the line of your 7-year journey. It is very rare to see someone not trip through their 7-year journey, but I think it's very important for you as a student that is doing this journey that, so yes, okay, I failed the FINAC module. It's okay. Dust yourself off, feel sorry for yourself for one day and one day only, and then keep on going. No, nothing ever good comes to you without trying over and over and over again. And I always say that, you know, the CA designation is the same as being a doctor. It's the same recognition. It's the same reputation. It's just that it's a CA designation, not a doctor title at the back. It's the CA at the end of your name. And the CA designation doesn't just talk to being an accountant and only being an accountant. You can go into so many different fields. You can go into so many different designations. If you have dreams of changing the world, you can go into academics. If you have a dream of opening up your own business, that CA designation just gives you that credibility from the bank side or from the different elements of business owners or people, investors, because to become a CA is not a simple journey. It's not a journey that you can just happen overnight and everybody becomes a CA. And I think from that perspective, it opens the world for you. It becomes your world passport. I have been at PKF Durban now for 6 years. We introduced between 30 and 40 new trainee accountants every year, and we have them on a 3-year cycle rotation because there's 3-year articles, which we'll discuss with you guys shortly. And on that basis, I have seen comfortably over 160 trainees leave my office, and that is as a completed 3-year articles. Some have passed this year and have got it under their belts. Others are on that route and still continuing their journey. But what it's shown me is the different journeys they've all taken. And one of my trainees is a bee farmer. One of them owns a home baked goods store. I've got people living in London. I've got people living in Australia. The door of the world is open to them. And it's what you put your mind to, and it's what you want to do. But you have to get to that CA in order to then get to that big dream. And like anything in life, no big dream is without hard work. So let's just take a look at what that journey looks like for you guys. So I think most of you have already done this, which congratulations, you've passed your grade 12 and you've done that with a decent maths mark. Maths lit obviously not being something that everybody looks at. Maths lit isn't what's going to get you through. Your maths core mark would have been really, really good. And so we go through and we've passed that grade 12 maths core mark in order to get us into our BCom accounting. Then the next thing we look at is we go on to where you guys currently are at Unisa, which is your undergrad degree. And so your undergrad degree is that 3 years. And a lot of the time that 3 years kind of solidifies for you where you want to be. So you're going to start attending career days. You're going to just start doing some VAC work. You're going to start understanding where you want to go with this degree, because you can do a variety of different options. Some people want to go into the big banking industry, so they want to hit the Standard Banks and Nedbanks of the world. Some individuals want to go investment banking. Some people want to go into property. But with that undergrad degree, these 3 years are so critical to where your next step is. But majority of you need to do articles and to become a CA and hit that articles journey, be it a SAPA route or a SACA route. Today we're talking about the SACA route, but you then need to take that 3 years and start doing some VAC work programs, get yourself exposed to different companies, try and ask mom, dad, brother, sister, auntie, uncles, whoever you can to try and get a foot into the door. It's a lot of the time of who you know, and it's just about getting that little taste for where you want to be. And vacation work is the perfect opportunity for you to understand the culture of a business and also what a full 8-hour day looks like, which is quite the shock to the system. Okay, so then the next thing we look at is we go to your postgrad degree. So Unisa offers this as well, which is your postgraduate degree. Your postgrad degree can really look like your PGDA. You could go through a variety of institutions. I think at Unisa, we have the CTA, the Certificate of Theory and Accounting. So a lot of it depends on whether you want to do it to 1 year or 2 years, but majority of the students choose a 1 year degree. And so from there, this is now your second degree that you're going to do. And also make sure that you meet the relevant requirements in order to get this degree. So you're going to do your postgrad degree, and from there, you're going to start looking for your articles. With that, you can still write your IAC board exam before you've done articles. For those of you that don't know what the SACA IAC board exam, and this is not the same IAC that Prakash was talking about earlier. I was having a little chuckle while you were presenting, Prakash. This is the initial assessment of competence. So in order to become a CA, SACA makes you write 2 board exams. The first board exam, the requirement is just that you've passed your PGDA, your postgraduate diploma degree. In terms of your SACA, your IAC exam, you only need to make sure that you pass that PGDA. In order to do your board 2, you would have then had to have had 18 months of articles underneath your belt. So you would have had to have been with a reputable firm that is registered with SACA, just like us at PKF. And from there, you would have had to have completed a full 18 months before you actually qualify for your board 2 exam. So the IAC exam, then from there you go into your articles. You do your 3-year articles, but in 18 months you then can apply to do your APC board exam. So your APC board exam is your board 2. Once you have passed your board 2, so you have then done passed your grade 12, you've done your undergrad, you've done your postgrad, you've done then a board 1 exam, 18 months of articles, you've then gone and applied for your board 2, passed your board 2, you then finish your articles at the end of the 3 years and become a CA. So like I said, it's a doctor of numbers, it's a journey. So if you take a look at this, there is multiple steps to becoming a CA. It's not for the faint of heart, but we are South African. Here in KZN, I'd like to think we're probably one of the most resilient provinces, but we are resilient. South Africans are resilient by nature. So this is something you can do. This is something you are able to do. The most important part about becoming a CA is to never give up and to keep pushing forward. So even though it's a long journey, it's well worth it, because once you get to the top of that ladder, it honestly just opens all the doors for you. And so PKF, we assist you in that article stage. We take you from becoming from a student life and a student to becoming a professional. And so by the time you get to that CA designation, we have spent the time, the effort training you to become a all-rounded CA, not just from a technical standpoint. The interesting part about the CA journey is that SACA has also evolved in terms of where they are at with the board exams and how they apply the competencies. So they're ever evolving as well. So it's very important as a student to keep up with SACA's trends, keep up with what SACA is doing as well, because they are changing the goalposts to make it a better designation. Okay, so the next thing we look at is just training contracts. So you would want to make sure that you're in a 3-year training contract that is accredited by SACA, and that is the practical component to becoming a CA. So this is all the knowledge that you use from all your studies, and then you apply that from a theoretical into practical, and then from there you will complete your CA designation. From our perspective, how do we help you? We put all our trainees on a fresher course, and the first month that they're with us, there's constant training throughout your 3 years, Friday trainings, there's a seniors course, there's an intermediates course, and there's constant on-the-job training that comes through your articles in order to make sure that you are actually a all-rounded CA. So there's different types of articles you can do. If you don't like auditing and you think auditing's for the birds and you don't want to go down that route and SACA is not for you, you have the option of doing SAPA articles as well. What's quite interesting, people are also exploring ACA articles, which is something that our VGA branch currently offers. So if you take a look here, in our 8 different firms across South Africa, this is what they all offer. So SAPA Articles is your South African Institute of Professional Accountants. So this is more of a professional accountant designation that you can obtain. And you would also do a 3-year articleship. Our PKF Durban, Port Elizabeth, VGA, George, and Pretoria office all offer a SAPA Articles. And they are just, the requirement is to have your degree with certain modules in it. With your SAPA Articles, ideally, we want you to have at least attempted your PGDA once. Then ACCA Articles, you can get hold of us, chat to our VGA office in terms of what their requirements are to enter in. And if you are a tax person and you think that tax is the route and you'd prefer to not go the CA route, but more on a tax route, you can get a hold of our Octagon or our PE office. So just like I said earlier on, what do we consider for you guys? SAPA, we're looking at a BCom or a BCompt in accounting. For SACA, we're looking at a PGDA or postgraduate diploma in accounting. A CTA, you must have attempted at least once. The reason we ask that you have attempted it is the jump from degree to postgrad degree is so massive that what we find is that a lot of students struggle with the workload. It's not necessarily the technicality of the PGDA or the CTA that catches everyone, but the workload increases phenomenally. And so what we always want people to have experienced what that intense volume looks like, as opposed to them coming in and starting a work-life study situation and then realizing that it's too much for them. Or then alternatively for SACA is a BCom honors in accounting, depending on where you've done it. Why would you come with PKF South Africa? We have a national team. We've probably got 3 or 4 of our role players on the call today. We work together so well. We are based throughout South Africa. We are very well entrenched. We have a very robust training and development team that work together. And these freshers courses that we do, the intermediate courses, all the training is done across the nation. It's done together as one team. So there's a consistent training that's happened. The quality of training is maintained at a very high standard. One of the best parts about PKF as well, and it's a massive, massive win for any trainee that joins us, is the fact that we do a variety of industry experience. So you won't be pigeonholed into one industry. You will have a wide range of industries that you'll be exposed to. So by the time you finished your articles, you might understand which industries that you would prefer to be in, as opposed to just being pigeonholed into one industry. We have a very good study leave support. We are internationally recognized. It's not very hard for our trainees to get jobs overseas, and we provide secondment opportunities overseas as well. This is the details if you are still looking to do articles. So if you guys can take out your cameras and maybe take a quick screenshot, or Nikki will share it with you guys in the chat, or our QR code in the chat. But these are who you're going to get hold of should you want to start looking at applying early or get into one of our vacation work programs. So I'm not going to go into the questions because I am well aware that we are out of time, but I will then just maybe turn over to I just want to, there we go, I've stopped sharing. I've just turned over to Chantal if there's any questions. Does anyone have any questions, or would you like me to go through the questions that we were going to present?
Let's ask the students to just raise their hands if they would like you to go through the questions that you were going to present. Students, can I ask you just by a show of hands to just show us your interest in the questions that Renee had prepared?
Yeah. Okay, we've got a question here. So I might apply for other firms too. I've obtained a higher certificate pass matric, and this allowed me the opportunity to enroll for a higher certificate, then gain entry to Unisa's degree. Do firms consider such applicants? Yes. A lot of our trainees do bridging courses to get into the PGDA program or into a BCom accounting. The most important thing is just to make sure that your marks are good, you're maintaining a good, strong mark. Some people only make the decision after the fact that they want to become an accountant and realize the requirements. So it does not deter us from considering you as an application. And then the next question was, do you have, or is there any prospects of SEMA articles in future? So that's a really good question, because it is something that we really are experiencing a lot of at the moment, and it's becoming a very dominant role player in our organization. We do believe it might have its place, but it is still very new. So I don't want to come onto a public platform and say, yes, there's CIMA articles, but it is something that is in consideration. It's not currently in play, but CIMA has introduced this new route into getting into CA through the CIMA. So for those of you that don't know, and so CIMA is a consideration. It's currently playing out as we speak. So as a firm, we are watching the movements and how it works. Our biggest sort of area that we are monitoring is, does the CIMA qualification translate into a pass for an APC? And that's very important for us. And we can't comment on that because we haven't seen it go through the ranks. So from our perspective, CIMA is playing a role at the moment, but we need to sort of judge and see how it's going to translate. And as well, it's a 5-year agreement with SACA, so we want to see that SACA continues that as well. Thanks for the good question. All right, any other questions?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
I have a question. Are marks the only thing that the company looks at, or are we expected to come in with knowledge of certain softwares?
Okay, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
So essentially, we look at marks. We look at a variety of things. You know, we want all-rounded individual as well. We want a person that has a good fit for the company as well. So marks play a role, but by the time you get to PGDA, a pass becomes a pass, let me tell you. So we want to see that you're an all-rounded individual. We want to see that you've taken your future seriously. Have you gone to vacation work? Have you done some form of part-time work? Have you done some volunteer work? Are you a team player? So we're going to look at you as an all-rounder. So, you know, academic people, yes, it's a great to have amazing academics, but we are making you into a fully fledged CA. You've got to have the ability to be resilient. You've got to have the ability to communicate, to be able to work as a team, have time management. So we'll look at all those different elements. So don't just, you know, marks are very important, but we will look at you as an all-rounder. One of the things is, from a software perspective, we don't, you know, our expectations, you're coming to learn with us. So you know, we're not going to expect you to have experience on any software, but I always do make a recommendation, you know, brush up on those Excel skills. You're going to be working on Excel, so just know, you know, don't sit with your calculator on Excel. Know what a sum is, know the basics of Excel, and that will help you. That will be a nice foot in the door for you as well, just to have that, to help you when you start that journey. I hope that helps.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Awesome, pleasure. I see, Bronwyn, your camera's on.
I'm presenting next.
Oh, are you presenting? Fantastic. Thanks, Bronwyn. All right. Any other questions? Okay, I think we're good. So I'm going to leave it across to Bronwyn. Thank you, Chantal, for having us. It was really, really lovely to be able to join you guys today.
Thank you so much, Renee. Actively engaging with our companies today. Your questions, your comments, your concerns, now's the time to take full advantage of the companies that are present today. And so next we have Bronwyn from BVA Incorporated. Bronwyn, you have presenter rights. You ready?
Yes, I do.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Bronwyn.
Great. Can I just get some thumbs up if you can hear and see my slideshow? Okay, that seems good. Great. So today, thank you, everybody. My name's Bronwyn. I'm a partner at BVA. And today I'm going to be taking you through quite a few things at a fairly rapid pace. Firstly, just a quick introduction, how to prepare yourself for success as a student and in the profession as well, how to stand out when you are looking for jobs. And I've got a very good mic drop move that will hopefully impress whoever is sitting in the room opposite you doing interviews. Then just a quick introduction into what life is like at a small firm, and then the different career paths that BVA offers. So I am an engagement leader or a director at BVA. I also head up the quality and I do all of the training for the firm. But my journey didn't start there. I started my degree in Stellenbosch, my undergrad degree, and let's say I enjoyed the full-time student life a bit too much, which meant I in my third year I needed to complete my degree through Unisa, which I did, and then I did my postgrad degree through Unisa while I was studying with Unisa, I was working part-time. And while I was working, I wasn't just working at the audit firm where I was doing my articles. I actually had 3 jobs at the time. And the reason that I'm telling you this story is that, like Renee said, all of us have different journeys to becoming a CA. And one of the most important things is about being resilient and knowing that you are going to have hiccups along the way. It's what you make of that journey and how you decide to address the issues that you have to determine if you're going to thrive in the field. Because thriving in the field of accounting is not just about studying accounting and studying finance. It's about so much more. It's about work-life balance. It's about balancing that workload of doing your PGDA or your CTA degree while working. There's a lot more things than just the technical knowledge of accounting. So in terms of how you can prepare yourself for success as a student, there's 2 big things that I always say are very important as a student. And the one is resilience, which I think everybody's kind of mentioned the need to be resilient. It is a doctor of numbers, and it's not an easy path to take. You saw how many steps there are to become a CA. So you need to make sure that every step you take, you're going to have battles to fight, and it's about how you deal with them. But it's also to remember that no one is demanding you to be perfect. Like Renee said, when you get to a certain level, a pass is a pass. Whether it's 51% or 99%, a pass is a pass. You don't need to be perfect. That's one thing I think a lot of students take to heart, is that they think they need to be perfect all the time. When you're doing your articles, it is a training contract. You are here to learn, and we understand that. We know that we need to teach you, and that mistakes are going to be made. And that's why in an audit firm, you have different levels of review that gets done on your work to grow you as you're going through the different stages or years in your articles. And the next thing that I always think is important in students is to have curiosity. Don't just ask, how does this happen? Ask the why. When you're learning about assertions, don't just ask why, how is it that we audit completeness of cash and bank? Understand the why behind it. What are the risks involved? How can what you're doing as an auditor impact the shareholders and the stakeholders of the business? And I've always found when I was learning that once I understood the why, it made it so much easier for me to understand how to do things practically. And yeah, as a student, even while working as a professional, one of the important things is time management. If you have any friends that are working at audit firms, they may always talk to you about actual versus budgets in terms of your time, but time management is very important from a professional point of view as well as from a student point of view. And there was 2 things that I found really helpful when I was working and studying part-time, was to block book the time that I was going to study. So for example, I knew on a Saturday, because I was working part-time, I knew Saturdays were my big study days, and I would try and do 6 to 8 hours on a Saturday, and then I would block book part of Sunday. And those were non-negotiables for me, because I knew that I needed to put that time in to climb the various steps to get to that CA path. And something else that I still use to this very day is when I'm doing extremely intensive tasks, I like to use the Pomodoro method, which is when you study, I think the Pomodoro is 40 minutes studying and then a 20-minute break, and you kind of cycle through that. Personally, I found 50-10 works nicely for me, but it's to make sure that you reward yourself and you're not sitting studying or working for 4-6 hours straight in a day. Your mind can't absorb that kind of hours, even though you think you can. But yeah, that method always helped me as a student, and it's something that even to this day I use professionally. And then the most important thing as a student, I think, is to be realistic. Like I said, no one's expecting you to be perfect. You aren't expected to have 100% for your marks. But it's also to know that you can't do it all at once. And this is something for those of you that like cramming. The higher up the ladder that you're going to get in terms of making your way to that CA degree, the more difficult it's going to become to cram. So consistency is key. Studying every day for 2 hours is much better than studying for 2 days just before a financial accounting exam and trying to cram those 20 hours into those 2 days. So always be realistic and always remember that consistency is key, and that's how you're going to make your way through that CA journey. It's a long path. Just think about the rabbit and the hare. Don't get off to that kind of false start and fade towards the end. Be consistent throughout the journey. Then preparing yourself for success as a professional, I would say there's 3 very important things or habits that you can build to help you to stand out from other people in your field or other people in your years. And the first thing is to arrive prepared. So with that, I mean, when you're getting out to a client on the day, have a look at the financial statements, know exactly or have an idea of what the business does. Don't just expect to get there on the day and have the senior or the partner explain everything to you from scratch. Come a little bit prepared, go through some notes, maybe go through the prior year file if there is one, ask some questions. You'll often know what sections you're going to be auditing before you get onto a job. Go and look at those sections in the previous year, see if there were any issues in those sections so that you are almost you can preempt those things happening in the current year. Then secondly, dress appropriately, specifically for the client. It just shows that level of professionalism. And lastly, communicate clearly, because communication is key, and that is in written and in verbal communication. Both are important, and it's not just between you and the staff that are working with you, it's also between you and the client, how you ask them questions, the tone of your voice. Yeah, just try and get that communication to a point where you keep open communication and you understand how to get information out of clients and to relay that information to those seniors or staff that are working with you. And this is a bit of a old quote in terms of old technology. For those, I still have a notebook and a physical pen, but I know a lot of people like using note-taking apps. But if you arrive on your first day and you're ready to take notes and you're ready to write those things down and you have a habit of listening first, I can guarantee you are basically ahead of most of the people in the field. So always be ready to take notes, remember things, and show that keen interest and curiosity in the field, which kind of leads me on to some of what I call some job hunting tips. So as Renee mentioned, there are different pathways in terms of doing your articles, and if you go to different firms, I'm sure a lot of you who are maybe in your second or third year may be starting to apply to do your articles. We know that this may, in many cases, be someone's first job. So we aren't looking for things on a CV that shows you've got 5 years working experience in finance or anything like that. At the end of the day, and I say this as someone that does make hiring decisions in our firm, what makes one candidate stand out from another candidate is their enthusiasm about the field, why they want to be in finance, and showing a genuine interest in auditing and accounting, and also that ability to show that they want to practice lifelong learning, because that's vital in our field. We, as a qualified CA, you have to do what is referred to as CPD, which is continuous professional development. So you always have to be learning. And when things change, like Prakash mentioned about AI, sometimes that learning isn't necessarily about accounting or finance. It could be about new technologies, but it's having that attitude of continuous learning and being willing to carry that through on a lifelong basis. Another great way to make yourself stand out is to highlight transferable skills. So if you have worked in other jobs, for example, when I was working, I worked as a waitress for 10 years. I could always use those stories of, I know how to deal with difficult clients, or I know how to think quickly on my feet, or something like that, which has nothing to do with auditing, but it shows what you as a person are able to do and how that skill can be transferred into auditing. Then in terms of your CV, and I see Chantal has posted a link in the chat about if you need any CV writing support. So there is a link there to assist you. In terms of your CV, Try and keep it 1 or 2 pages. At the end of the day, like I said, we aren't expecting you to have 5 or 10 years experience in finance. Keep it 1 or 2 pages, keep it brief, and include your transcripts, whether that be for matric, if you first or second year, show your transcripts so that you show what you've been able to do academically. And then in terms of interview tips, so a good thing to have is always have 2 or 3 personal stories ready to show how you're able to solve problems. So that could be, like I said from my waitress example, you're able to think quickly on your feet, or you're able to deal with people that are maybe difficult clients, or have a little bit of a difficult personality to deal with. Have those stories ready. And then also have, at the end of an interview, normally the interviewer will always ask you, do you have any questions for us? Have a thoughtful question ready about the firm. That just shows that you've looked at the firm, you understand the dynamic, you know the size of the firm, and it shows a little bit of interest. One of the questions that I always think is a great question to ask is to ask the interviewer, assuming this interview went well, and we have a meeting in a year's time, what would you want to see to be able to say that this has been a successful appointment? And that's important for 2 main reasons. Firstly, you get the interviewer to imagine hiring you and thinking about where you're going to be in a year's time, which is always a win. And secondly, it gives you insight into what's important for the firm. For example, for us, one of our KPIs is, did you progress in your studies? That's extremely important, because at the end of the day, to become a CA, you need to make those various progressions in your studies. And that's something that we look at specifically as a key performance indicator on our staff. It gives you an idea of what the firm values and if that's the right kind of cultural fit to you. And then the last thing in terms of interview tips is, don't oversell yourself. Be authentic about your current skills, but show your willingness to learn. Show your genuine interest in accounting and in finance. And one of the mic drop moves for an interview, and it's something I see very few candidates do, but whenever a candidate does do it, I always remember that candidate's name, is to send a short thank you email after the interview. And I can see Renee's agreeing there, but send a short thank you email after the interview and mention something that you enjoyed about learning about the firm. Sometimes that can be something that's maybe more personal that the interviewer shared with you. For example, I did an interview a couple months ago, and I found out the candidate went to the same high school as me, and we started talking about my maths teacher. So the more personal you can make it, the better. That will always stand out and hold in the interviewer's memory. But if there isn't that kind of personal connection during an interview, then make it something that you found interesting about learning about the firm. For example, I find it very interesting that you value the progression in your studies as a KPI. That's something that I'm very aligned with from what I've said. Then in terms of life at a small firm, and I realize I'm just on my time. So the biggest thing that I can say about life at a small firm is our ability to adapt to change, because we don't have too many partners to go through in terms of, can we adopt a new system? Can we adopt a new audit software? Are we going to start using ChatGPT? For example, with AI and ChatGPT, I think ChatGPT got released, and within 2 to 3 months, we were encouraging clerks to use it and how to use it and adapting to that change in technology. So that's one of the things that I would say is a very big plus at working at a small firm, and it allows you to make an impact on the firm. If you've got an idea that you think could be better, or you could make things better as a firm, you have that close relationship with your engagement partners that you can pitch that idea to them, and it will get seriously looked at and considered. And the other thing is that because you're working in a small firm, you get experience, like Renee said as well, to a range of different industries. You don't just get pigeonholed into, okay, you're just going to work in retail or just construction or just banking or just financial services, you get exposure to a range of clients, which means one thing, your learning curve is going to be steep, because what you learned on one client in construction could be done a completely different way in another client in financial services. So your learning curve is steep because you could be in those different sectors, but ultimately that builds exposure, and I think that that makes stronger CA having that greater level of exposure, which I've always thought is a benefit of a small firm. Then in terms of career pathways, so I'm not going to go into this in too much detail. The one thing I do just want to point out, so Renee mentioned you do 3 years articles, which is correct. That generally starts if you have finished your undergrad degree and then you start working at a firm, you get put onto a 3-year articleship. However, you are able to start working at a firm before you actually finished your undergrad degree. So you could start working in a firm in your first year, second year, third year of undergrad. What happens then is your articles just get extended and they get reduced once you qualify or you get your undergrad degree, if you meet certain requirements. So we at BVA, we do take on students that are not necessarily finished with their undergrad. They could still be doing their third year, doing their second year. We've even taken on first year students in some instances. And ultimately, our goal is to produce well-rounded professionals who can thrive anywhere. That's not just being a CA in terms of an auditor, that's being a business leader, being a thought leader, being able to look at strategy, just where you can grow within the field and have an influence on various different aspects. And then in terms of some closing words, so I think the main thing is be curious, be resilient from day one, and always behave professionally. Manage your time like it's your most valuable asset, because it really is. If you ask people, very rich people who are 70 or 80 years old, they would give up their money to be 21 or 30 again. So time is the only asset that money can't actually buy, which makes it the most valuable thing. First years, so in other words, first years in your articles, not necessarily first years in studying. First years in your articles, you can stand out with enthusiasm and preparation, and just general authenticity and interest in the profession. And a small firm gives you a variety of different aspects that can benefit you in terms of close mentorship, that ability to adapt to change and really influence real change. And think of your articles as your launch pad. Choose a place that will invest in you as much as you're willing to invest in yourself every single day. It shouldn't just be a one-way street. The firm should be there to help you as much as you are there to help the firm in terms of meeting client deadlines and requirements that need to be met. And if you are interested in working at BVA, so we are an office that is based in Durbanville in Cape Town. If you are interested in working at BVA, you're welcome to send your CV through to recruitment@bva.co.za. I'll drop that email address into the chat just after I've presented. But yes, so thank you very much. Thank you to all of the fellow presenters. I know it's our first time that we've joined a Unisa session, but hopefully, if Chantal allows, it's going to be the first of many. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you so much. I see there's a question about asking about what is the effect if you're working for 17 years, yet in the financial office, but not working with financial statements as such?
So I'm assuming this is someone that has maybe started a little bit later to do their CA kind of route. We've actually had a candidate like this a couple years ago that started the CA journey relatively late in life. It doesn't impact anything in terms of your path to becoming a CA. You still have to get the degrees, you still have to pass the various board exams. So you're almost seen as the same as everybody else, and you would still start your articles. If you're starting on 3 years, you'd still go through that normal progression of first year, second year, third year. You may just have a benefit in terms of you've got that financial experience, you know what it's like to work in a finance kind of finance office, you may be able to balance work and life a little bit better than maybe someone who's just been a student the whole time. But it doesn't impact your journey. And I've known of multiple people that have started the CA route relatively late in life. It's still very possible to do. Yeah, as long as you've got that passion there for it, you can definitely still achieve that goal.
Thank you so much. I see a thumbs up after your response, which really helped the student reframe their thinking and their career planning. I think what's very important, things that you highlighted, that students need to think about the benefits of joining a small, medium, or large firm. And that there are lots of benefits to joining a small enterprise. But also, I think what you highlighted is transferable skills, that you might not start working in the field of accounting, but you need to look at any job in terms of what skill am I learning here that I can translate and transfer to the next company, because it's not just accounting skills that you need. There's a whole range of skills that one needs to develop in order to be well-rounded, as you're saying, well-rounded professional in the workplace. There's soft skills that needs to be developed, not just the accounting skills, which are very important. I just want to check in with our students, whether they have any other questions, comments. The presentations, Prakash, I've received yours, so I will email. Any of the other companies who want me to email the presentations, you're welcome to forward it to me. And I'll be sending a bulk email to our attendees with a recording of today's session. If there are no further questions from the audience, I don't see any hands up. Then I'd just like to thank our students for attending today, online and in person, taking the time to engage with our speakers, the lively engagement, the questions, the concerns, the challenges that we managed to unpack today. I think it was a small group of us, but I think it was an impactful session today. For the companies, I'll be in contact with you, because next year it looks like we're wanting to host one big career fair that will include accounting sciences, but other colleges as well. And that's it from me. I think thank you to our company representatives that joined us today, to all of our presenters for your energy and commitment and dedication to invest in our accounting sciences students, which is very important. It's not just that university degree or piece of paper that's going to launch your career, but all the other skills and engaging with employees and considering what your options are, planning and thinking and being strategic in your career development phase and planning for a future career is also very important. So well done to our students for taking accountability for yourselves and doing the hard work in attending such events and engaging. And then also thank you so much to all the effort and energy and dedication from our speakers today. Thank you so much, everyone. And with that, I close the program for today.